What's going on, brothers and sisters? This is your brother Evangelist Majors, and just wanted to come to you with another video, present some information to you historically. Many of you know that I travel the country teaching the Bible. I'm a believer in the Bible, historically and biblically. I believe that Christ is the way and the only way, but I also believe there are some historical misinformation that has plagued nations for years of misinformation. And so I want to present some information to you, video as well, in video form that we do, and we teach on the Truth Tour as well as the Identity Theft Tour. We're going to get in a video by Helen Thomas. We're going to look at some of the Jewish rabbis, and we're going to look at some of the people who live in the land of Israel and have lived there for thousands of years. Let's get into it. Okay, brothers and sisters, in this video, you're about to see one of the Jewish rabbis break down and explain there's a difference between Zionism and Judaism. There's a difference between ancient or historical Mosaic truth and modern Judaism as well. But I'm not going to get into modern Judaism versus Mosaic truth. Those of you who saw the video that I did on that, you'll know what I'm talking about. But anyway, the point here is that he's going to prove the fact of why many died in Germany. The reason why a lot of Jewish people died in Germany is because of what he's about to say right now, because they had the same mindset that he had. We're not supposed to be in the land. All right, now let's get to it.
Judaism is a religion, a spirituality to serve God, thousands of years old. Zionism is only around 100 years old. It is the transformation from religion to nationalism, to materialism, created by non-religious Jews who hated the religion. And they really didn't want Judaism. They didn't even want to make their state in Palestine, only in Uganda at the first meeting. They didn't even want to make their state in Palestine, only in Uganda at the first meeting. They didn't even want to make their state in Palestine, only in Uganda at the first meeting. The reason they used the name Israel, the Star of David, hijacking, stealing the identity of Judaism and the Jewish people, is in order to get a legitimacy for their existence, that people should say, oh, it's God given to them, and that they should put fear and intimidate people from speaking up against their actions because they'll call them anti-Semitic. There couldn't be anything further from the truth. As I say, the best friends of the Jewish people is Turkey. The best friends of the Jewish people is all the Muslim countries who've helped the Jews all the time when they ran away from their problems in other lands. So how could you say this? It's something totally different. It's a political, selfish, flawed movement called Zionism that has no legitimacy to exist. It's against the Torah. Maybe just say one thing. It's against the Torah in its essence. The concept for Jews to have a state is expressly forbidden in the Torah, in the Jewish teaching, since the destruction of the temple 2,000 years ago. We were told by the Almighty in a prophecy of King Solomon, and that we are forbidden to have our own entity, our own state, our own kingdom, even in an uninhabited land. And this was held by all Jews around the world for thousands of years, and it makes it worse, compounds the sin, the crime in having the state, because this state of Israel that these nationalists made it in Palestine, made it in a land that was inhabited by the majority Muslim people, by the Palestinian people. So to steal their land, to kill, to oppress, to banish them from the homes, it flies in the face and contradicts everything of the Torah that says thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, that one has to emulate God, be compassionate.
Any advice for these young people over here for starting out in the press corps?
Go for it. You'll never be unhappy. You'll always keep people informed, and you'll always keep learning. The greatest thing of the profession is never stop learning.
Today they're covering the Jewish Heritage Month. Today, yeah.
Are you going to meet the president?
We're any comments on Israel? We're asking everybody today. Any comments
Tell him
on
to
Israel?
get the hell out of Palestine.
Ooh. Any better comments than that?
Helen is one.
Remember, these people are occupied, and it's their land. It's not German, it's not Poland.
So where should they go? What should they do?
They go home.
Where's the home?
Poland.
So the Jews,
Germany.
You think Jews go back to Poland and Germany?
And America and everywhere else. Why push people out of there who are lived there for centuries? See?
All right, brothers and sisters, you just heard Helen Thomas, who is one of the greatest press writers of our generation, my parents' generation. I mean, one who is credible. No one would argue about her work, what she done. I mean, under several presidents, and before she started declaring and bringing out truths is when she started getting blackballed and her awards were taken away from her. And we could just go on, but let's get into some more documents, all right? Now in this next video, we're gonna look at people, natives, or those who have firsthand account of information living and residing in the land of Israel, having family living there for thousands of generations, hundreds of years, not from someone writing from a Western perspective, but someone who's in the land today.
So in your eyes, this land, the Holy Land, what they call Israel, Palestine, this is Africa.
This is Africa.
We've done a great job in being able to demonstrate that this is Northeast Africa. And once we begin to look at it as such, and we stop believing this idea of Israel being a part of the Middle East.
Go over here, and I'm going to show you where Israel sits on the African tectonic plate, which means that Israel is Northeast Africa.
What do you mean Middle East? Is there an Upper East, a Lower East? What do you mean Middle East?
For most of the blacks, they have a confusion about Israel. This is your home. This is your land.
But you know, the government, before the Turkish people come here, they control this land for 400 years, and they left, and we stay in the desert. Then the English, the government of English people, they come here, maybe control some of a little time, and they left, and we stay here, and now it's the Israeli, and we stay here, and we could continue to stay in this land.
He's from Africa.
Answer the road. 10 generations here. The black people here in this land, it's not for the last 100 years or something like this. It's more than 1,000 of years.
We are deeply rooted in this country. We are talking about generations and generations.
The evidence is hands down. It's not even something that we engage in a debate on about the dark-skinned nature of the peoples that lived in these regions in antiquity.
They're not original here. They know that we are the original people here.
The reality is that we tend to look at this land based on what we've seen in contemporary times. And what do we see? We see fair-skinned Israelis, and we see fair-skinned Arabs.
הייתה פלסטין, הייתה לפני הטורקים,
before the Palestinian, before the Turkish Empire.
I have a book called The Arabs. I believe the author's name was Bertrand Thomas. On page 339, he says the the original inhabitants of Arabia were not the more familiar Arabs of our own time, but a very much darker people.
You see this people in the mosque? I say, you see this people in the mosque? He don't want the black in the mosque to become the imam, the first man who did this. Then he start to say Hassan al-Basri this. His education from the black people. So don't say it. They say what? I say yeah. You have to become to become the leader. He say Hassan al-Basri. You have to stand the imam and don't say Hassan al-Basri. He say my cousin Hassan al-Basri, my brother Hassan al-Basri.
You can say we began when the Islam came to Palestine, but I'm quite sure we are even before and before and before.
You look at the name of Palestine, it was the name that the Romans gave to the land formerly known as Judea.
Another thing about Annapolis is that at the Last Supper, if you remember, Yeshua and the disciples were sitting around the table, and they had glassware on the table. They were not drinking out of glass.
I just watched the TV one time. I see a movie in the TV. I see this is Zayd al-Halal. I see they put it in the TV, he's white. But everybody know, even the white, they know this is Zayd al-Halal, he's a black.
If you take the map of the old city, you never find the African quarter. You will find Christian quarter, Armenian, Jewish, Muslim quarter, but never the African quarter.
National TV. About Palestinian suffering. You ever see a black brother?
No.
But we suffer the same.
People from our people. They regard Jesus to be black, Moses, Muhammad, Abraham.